Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the 505 Podcast.
We are back. This is episode number 13. Holy shit.
Damn, we've been doing this, huh?
For a minute, huh?
We've been out here. Are we vets at this point?
Kind of vets, I'd say.
Yeah, welcome back.
I'm not getting the league minimum anymore.
Oh, really? I got demoted to the practice squad, so
In the G League or
I'm
what?
definitely below the league minimum.
We have a really fun episode today. We've gotten a lot of shit that's just going on right now for all of us. We've been super busy. I just got that new laptop that Costas has. If you're watching the pod, get your ass off Spotify and go watch the pod on YouTube because we're just a great time and you want to see our pretty little faces, right?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Two of us have hats on. Guess which one? You won't be able to know if you're listening.
There you go.
There it is.
How's the new laptop?
Dude, it's honestly lightning fast. If you're thinking about getting a new computer, I highly recommend this M1 Pro Chip Max thingy that they got going on. We both copped it.
Yeah.
Great call.
We also did something really smart.
Yeah,
and we
this is great.
financed it.
Yeah.
We leased it. A lot of money to be shelling out on a MacBook Pro, about $5,000 all in if you want the Big Daddy fully spec'd out.
This is really interesting because this goes back to something we'll touch on in this pod. But dude, boss up. Get a
100%.
fucking an LLC made and fucking boss up.
Okay, going from laptop
Sorry,
to
no.
I get what you're
But
saying,
You know
though.
what I'm saying? Because then only if you have a business
sure.
can you do this.
Yeah.
You know, and so like you
Right.
could get, this is funny. I remember back in high school. Yeah, freshman year of college, I go to Apple to do this leasing program. Right. The guy goes, "Yeah, man, what's your company?" I go, "B50 Productions," and he goes, "It's great. We'll get you all set up with our team." So we pop in. There's 5 of these Apple people here to meet me. I'm like 18. I'm like, "What's up, man? Yeah,
Right.
they give me a company rundown, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, so we'll get you all set up." And I'm like, "I want the $10,000 MacBook Pro," and I'm like fully prepared to spend like $200 a month to buy this thing.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, so we'll just get your tax information." And I go, "Oh yeah, I do everything cash, like under the table, you know, like everything in my business is under the table right now." And he goes, "So you don't have like an LLC made or anything?" I go, "No, I'm the guy. I'm the business.
Right.
I'm here.
You're looking at
You're
it.
looking at the
Right.
whole business. It's right
Right.
here." And he was like, "Yeah, man, I don't think you're ready for this thing." And I was like, "That's great. So get a business and then you can you can apply for this program." And I really recommend it because now we get this laptop for $100 a month. We'll have this thing for 3 years. And then by that time, I would like to think that they'll come out with another one that's badass and we'll swap it in and we'll get the next best one.
And that's the thing is like realistically, you don't get a laptop every like year
No.
or every 2 years.
chance.
It's like you're getting a new laptop every 3 or 4 years. So this allows you to pay in monthly installments and as opposed to shelling out $5,000 at once.
Kind of going off what you were just talking about. I've been thinking about this literally for like 3 days straight. Starting your own business and just in general. So I was in wine country this weekend. It's no big deal. And
like that.
took a hot air balloon ride, right? And really connected with the pilot of the hot air balloon, an aeronaut, if you will.
Okay.
And I was like,
Cool name.
I was doing the math because I know how much we had to pay. And there's 16 people there. There's 2 balloons. He paid people, I assume, minimum wage. They were just like carrying stuff. They're like younger kids, not kids, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
These kids are 5 years old.
And
It's like child labor.
and he said he flies like 300 days a year, right? In just sunrise and sunset. It's like a 2-hour thing.
What a fun job.
And
Yeah.
and he was incredible. He was telling me about he flew through the streets of New York City. He was like, I just like took tons of drugs and flew like Yves Saint Laurent like through the streets of New York City.
How fun.
This guy's wild, dude. He was like #1 in hot air ballooning a while ago. But anyways, the thing is, dude, it's like a little business, right? He's got 2 hot air balloons. He like flies like 16 people every morning and every evening. I was doing the math and I paid on the high end. I paid those employees like in my head more than he probably does. And I did like for at least if he does like 16 people every morning and every night for like $250 a person. And then I like even like divided in half because his son was the other pilot. He's still bankrolling like $2 million a year, dude. And the lifestyle,
Crazy.
That
That is
the
actually
lifestyle.
insane.
He can just
gets to-
nap all day if he wanted to.
He just
Just
gets
a
to kick
sunrise
it.
and sunset.
Just kick it up there.
And the thing is like you don't need to start the next Facebook. I was just talking to my brother about this, big entrepreneurial guy. He's like, I always thought I had to start the next Facebook to start a business. He's like, now I'm realizing like if I can just make $200K a year doing my own business, it's like a lifestyle. You can do whatever you want.
You'd feel like
So with
200K
photo and
is a
video
shit
stuff,
ton.
I mean, I've done the agency stuff the whole time, but like the stuff on the side or just like doing your own business, if you can make it work, it's just worth it, dude, because you make so much more money.
100%.
And if you have like, I mean, you can, the cool thing is you can get a 9 to 5 And then you can have your side hustle on the side that's bringing you in money. And then when it becomes the main hustle, then you dip or, whatever you want.
And the side hustle is fun.
Yeah, the side hustle is great.
When I lock in like a 6 side hustle thing, I'm jonesing that whole week, dude.
Just jonesing.
You feel good. You feel good about yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
I did lock in a new client this past week,
Ooh,
actually.
you did.
Speaking of bossing up.
A little TikTok action.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about. And this was one of the first times that we've done it a couple times, obviously, with the 505 Media, but me taking a call and pitching myself as our production company, which was really interesting and not how I was used to doing things as just one-off freelancer, which I think a lot of people spend time doing that, right? When they're first starting out, it's just them.
Especially, yeah.
But as we've created this production company together, it's kind of a hack because you can start charging more money and you can just create a lot more and do a lot more on a bigger budget and just a bigger scale when you have a team around you.
Right. I mean, you just offer better work, right? You offer like the sum of all of us, like different skill sets, etc. And so you can, instead of, it's not like, it's like you're like charging more because you're going to give them way better product.
Exactly.
You know what I'd do if I was starting out right now? If I went back,
Tell me.
and I knew some homies that were like getting into it with me, and I'd say I had a $500 project, instead of taking all of it, or I just asked my boys, I'd be like, yo, come pop in on, be a second shooter, be a third shooter. Let's find a sound guy that's like in college.
Yeah.
So then you have 4 people that you're inherently going to make something better. Billy's going to see something that Ricky doesn't see. You'll make a better product. Client will be happier. They'll hire you back again. And then you can start to bring in your team. That's your team.
Right.
And then you start to build that rapport with your squad. You make said company eventually later down the line when you're ready to do that. And then you've already known like, okay, I know how to work with a crew, because working by yourself, you're only going to be able to get so far.
Yeah.
Yep.
You there's only so much time in the day.
Yep.
You can only do so much as an individual.
Yep.
Once you bring a
Right.
team into it, you can really start accomplishing more.
And that's the other thing too, is that like you have, especially when you're just starting out, like you said, then you'll have the network of all of you combined, because in the beginning it's so hard to find work.
Yeah.
But if you have like Johnny can get you this client because his cousin's niece does that one thing,
$100 or whatever
and then
here,
like you're bringing in that, you just have a lot more opportunities to work. The other idea I just realized that a lot of colleges have like little media places that you can rent cameras from for projects.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had that. Did you have that?
But yeah, we did. But my idea that I wish I would have done in college now, and I'm telling other kids to do it. And this is a hack. And this is bold.
Oh, I know exactly what
This
you're
is
gonna
bold,
say.
but we like to do stuff like this. Rent the cameras from the school for your projects and charge more for client work.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. Why did we
That
do
is
that?
Oh, yeah,
I don't
that
know.
would have been brilliant.
I mean, we had like C200. I think we had C300s in college. I totally could have rented it out and made like a little corporate video.
Yeah, you're so right. Or even
Don't break it. Don't
Yeah,
break
do
and
not
don't.
break-
And I am not liable. Okay. Do not say
This
like,
is
well,
not
Chase, that's a
advice.
good
This
idea.
is not advice.
not
This is just
financial advice.
hypothetical advice. That's funny. No, because then say you had a T5i, right? You could end up renting the C300, and then you have a drastically different image.
Right.
Drastically,
And it's
drastically
a
different
free
look.
rental.
Free 99.
You could even charge the company camera
What's the-
rental for your C300.
What's the best cost of a rental?
Free 99.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or you're just like, you become the production house, but it's just,
Just
using the school.
It's the school. You're like, no, I have like 10 people.
Right. I
It's
got
like,
C stands, all this stuff.
what do you
if you
need?
just scheduled like a big shoot, because for like our shoots, like cinematography class, we'd have like all the equipment. If you just said it was a 3-day shoot, when it was a 2-day
you get
shoot,
on
and
the
then
week-
just piggyback like a client thing.
Bam, bam.
Oh man, take me back to college. I feel like I could really
The
ascend
real
it right now.
entrepreneurs in college.
Yeah.
That's funny. And it really, I mean, I think you just gotta really try and meet a ton of different people in the space. Because if you can shake a ton of hands in the space and you can do good work for people, they'll hit you back up when they get a project going. That's how you get all your freelance shit. For the word of mouth's the best marketing.
Going back to going off of that, how we were talking about networking, that one podcast
Great clip, by the way.
Great. Oh, it just went dummy viral, dude.
Dude, we should basically call this great clips.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that.
Haircuts and podcast clips.
we
Anyways,
go.
continue.
There it is.
Talking about like college and who you're going to meet in college and like how your network is so important. We 3 literally sat down with a very close buddy of mine who works for a production company out in New York. And that's just someone who, just because I went to school with, met him, we were interested in the same stuff. He's working at a production company in New York, reached out to us because he knows that I do what I do out here, and he knows that I have a network. live with you two. And he's like, great, I think we have some work for you. And that will probably turn into something this
Huge.
year in the future, like big projects. So yeah, man, the network is so important, but he's going to come to us with projects that like I can't do by myself. Like I need your guys' help and
to
hire more
pitch,
people.
dude. It's really hard to sell just one guy. But if it's a company, it's
practically impossible because you're going up against companies. You're going up against businesses. You're going to a fucking gunfight with a knife.
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't have to have a big group of people to start a company.
No.
You can just be like a little
a little road crew,
a little
3, 4, 5,
and it could
2.
even just be. It could honestly just be you, and you just have a collective of people that you always like to hire. And so like, you can say your production company because you're like, because I am going to bring on a director and a designer
DP
or whatever, everything.
Exactly.
You go.
I was just gonna say, like, when you are first starting out, it's typically just you, right? I think we've all been at that position where we're first starting out. We're like,
for a minute.
I do everything. I film, I edit,
DP,
I
the
creative.
colorist.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I still do everything sometimes.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going with this.
But I think maybe is what you were going to say is that, it's really important to like figure out, like to do everything, right? And get a feel for it and see what you like, what you don't like, et cetera, what you excel at. And then try, if you can, to specialize and then find people that do other things better than you.
What were some of the things that you both tried when you started? Like, I know I tried, like drone, for example. I got the drone because Casey Neistat had the drone. I'm like, really want the drone. Now I love the drone. I'm great at flying that little bird. And then, maybe I vividly remember this. I saw Gibson Hazard's first video for like Lil Pump or something. And he's doing all these crazy ass effects. And I'm like, I remember watching, I'm like, do I want to do the Cinema 4D? Do I want to be the guy that sits behind the computer for like 15, 27 hours in a row doing this shit? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I respect it. It's so hard to do. That's great. Those people are very necessary and very needed, but that's not me. I want to direct. I want my name to be on the front thing. I want my B Figgy on the front thing, or 505 Media, whatever.
And I think it's constantly, I think you're always, I mean, if you're not constantly learning more about yourself, you're fucking up. Like, we're always going to be learning more and more and more. Because I definitely, I was like, I'm really good at this editing thing, and it's like pretty nice to do it, but I never like loved the process of it. And now, it's similar to you, where it's like, now I'm like, you know what, I really just like creating like the feel and the mood and like how it should like make the audience feel, which is like what directing is. And I'm like, I understand that there are DPs that are way better than me, and like I can do it, and I've done it for a long time, but like you just have to like, you almost have to like restrict the ego and like put it down and be like, let someone else be like, look, I know you're probably better than this, so like you go do that, and it'll be a better end product, which is all that matters.
And that's the cool part about having a team, though, is you can bring in the hitter of After Effects,
sure,
the filmmaker, the Steadicam op. Like, you bring in all of these people who, like, eventually, you said wide when you start, try everything.
But helicopter tour.
Exactly. And then once you figure once you've tried it, once you've tried like, a shit ton of things for years, and you're like, okay, what do I like the most? And now I need to be great at this one thing. Because that's what it, like, on movie sets, right? Like, you've told me, I haven't been on a movie set, but everyone's really good at one job,
one thing. And there's, and
that's how it is on set, on ad sets. Everyone does one thing.
Like, one guy's just like so good at setting up lights, or like one guy's like just rapping the chords, like the best fucking chord rapper you've ever seen.
Exactly.
Like, okay, so when I gamble, your boy's got heavy steps, right? I'm like, Coast is just smooth.
Just glide.
God, he's good at
Glider McGee,
and he's good at a lot of things. And the thing is like, we still haven't like put down, like, we don't just do one thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can all do them all, but it's just like recognizing like, exactly.
What do you guys feel like is your strength?
Kind of what I just said, like creating a cohesive feel and mood to a video. And I want to get into further like writing more descriptive, like what exactly it should feel and mood beforehand. I usually feel like I curate that in the edit. I would love to work on making that in the pre-production more. I feel like you get paid a lot of money for that too.
That'll also help the editing process go.
Of course.
Smoother. What about you, Brid?
I think that I'm really good with people.
Ooh.
Really good at getting my ideas across, or selling an idea, or like if the client's like, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm really good at being like, okay, I know your idea is not going to work, so we're going to shift over to my idea. I'm going to figure out a way to show you that my idea is better.
Right. And you're great on the phone.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's a skill set.
Thank you.
You should hear Braden talk to customer service about anything. It is the funniest thing.
Hey, Ricky, we're gonna figure this out together. Okay, we're in this together.
What's her name? Jimmy? All right, Jimmy, you and me, and we're gonna figure this out today, okay? And if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna be really upset. It's like one of the first weeks I like overheard him talking, and I didn't even like know the guy at this point. And I was like, Jesus, he's really giving it in to Jimmy right now.
So funny.
He's like, Jimmy, look, we had a good run, but I think we're gonna have to find someone else. You're gonna have to get your manager. Coach, what about you?
I would say my biggest strength, and something that I just love to do is just getting a singular shot. I feel like I really strive on either getting like a single photo or just like a single video, whether it's like, yo, check out this single clip that I got on my Ronin. Like this is a fire, just like one-off shot. And what I've learned, and something that I was struggling with this past weekend, is I had to edit a video for Loud Luxury. And I was dealing with a little bit of like imposter syndrome, but also like, I just don't feel like I'm the strongest video editor. Maybe because I don't do it as much as I should, but I was like, I also don't love spending a lot of time behind the computer. And I understand I can get it done. I can edit the video and I got it done, but it's not my strong suit. I'm like, wow, all these clips are fucking bangers because I shot them all. But like then putting together that whole cohesive thing within Premiere, that's where I kind of like struggle. And I don't feel like it's my strong suit. I'm like, I'd rather hire someone who's like a killer. And help bring that vision to life.
Knowing that is a skill in itself.
100%.
It's like almost producing. It's like, well, I know that I shouldn't be doing this because someone else will do it better and it's more efficient. And knowing who to hire, like having the taste level and the ideas to like, oh, this person, I like how they edit. That'll be perfect for what we're trying to make here.
Yeah. Exactly. And as you build your team too and start hiring out, not everyone's going to be the best, right? So it's like you might hire someone, get a recommendation from a friend or whatever, start working with someone and be like, he was okay, whatever, but like there's maybe somebody better. And then once you find those people that you can really trust,
right, to
like, they're going to kill it, then you are like, I don't even have to worry about them. I just hire them. They do their thing.
Right.
And you build that trust and you build that team.
Yeah. Years of experience in producing and like production companies is really important because you just weed out the shit people.
On the topic of bossing up, Logan Paul and KSI recently bossed up and created a drink together. And this is what we wanted to talk about too, is like thinking farther and thinking about more stuff than just making videos.
Them doing that is so freaking smart. And you can look at, you don't have to like those people. You don't have to like the Paul brothers. You can think whatever you want to think about them, but they're businessmen, dude. Those guys are geniuses. They manipulate the market. They post content specifically to piss you off. If you're talking about them, they did something right.
It's performance art.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. Exactly. So you have two guys. You have one of the biggest creators in the world who's from the UK. You have one of the biggest creators from the world that's in the US. And they combined. And they said rival Gatorade. And the fact that they even said that is like, let's fucking go, dude.
Which I really like this. And this is kind of extrapolates into all business, but it's like Gatorade came out a long time ago, right? And a lot of people would think, I want to make a sports drink, but Gatorade already did that a while ago. So like, I'm not going to do it now. And I think a lot of people feel that way about even like crypto. Like, oh, I'm not going to get into it. It's too late. Or I'm not going to get into creating like TikToks or whatever. The platform's too late. Like the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is fucking right now. You know what I mean? You can't just say like, oh, I didn't do it, so now I got to like, just can't do it ever. Like fucking plant your tree now. It'll grow in 20 years and you'll be fine.
Casey Neistat had a quote and he said, they were like asking him about his success on YouTube and like, you're the best, whatever, right? And he goes, the best creator hasn't even posted a video yet. And I was like, and this is when I hadn't even really gotten into it. And I was like, that could be me, maybe.
Also great fucking wherewithal to know that,
right?
dude.
I know, because it's so true though. Like this was pre like let's just call it one creator that I can think of off the top of my head, Emma Chamberlain, and we should add her to this list.
Oh yeah,
super dope creator, and she's made this coffee brand, right? Super cool brand that's different. Who the fuck makes coffee? What creator do you know that makes coffee?
Peter McKinnon.
Oh, he does. Son of a bitch. God.
Well, but I do okay,
very few. Let's call it very few people, and her branding's very unique. Yes. You know, she's done something really big in her space. In her lane, she's crushing it. The girl's an absolute beast.
Every girl I know loves Emma Chamberlain.
I love Emma Chamberlain.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, but just an example of someone that she's a vlogger. Stay in your vlogging lane. That's what most people think, right? They're like, just stay in your lane. The best creators are always going to have things that they pop into.
Well, and it kind of comes back to something, Braden, that you say all the time, which is like, it's really hard to become really successful if you're constantly trading time for money, right? Because you like you said earlier, there's only so much time in the day. There's only so much you can get done personally. But if you can like sell stuff or sell a service that you don't have to personally be doing to make money. It's such a way to make, it's such like a life hack to make so much more money. And then you can kind of live the lifestyle that you want and like make your own videos if you feel like doing that. Cause that's what I would do if I fell into a pit of money, dude. I'm still going to make videos.
I'm making YouTube videos every day.
I'm buying like a perfect, like little, probably A7S3 or maybe an A1. I'm buying an A1. You're right.
There you go.
And I'm just traveling and just making vlogs, dude.
Bang.
I don't care if they do well. I'm having fun.
Because you're just having fun.
Because that's the most fun thing you can do, personally.
Exactly. I think. If you weren't getting paid, I think I'd be making
like
videos.
That little FPV edit we made. I posted on my reels. It did fine. I probably it got like, I don't know, like thousands of views.
I watched
somebody else.
Yeah,
but like,
who's counting?
I probably watched it like one of those thousands. Like I watched it so many times.
I did too. I watched it like 30 times.
It's fun to make personal shit, dude.
Yeah, I think so too.
What's your Jared Leto reel at?
Guys, we got up to like almost 50,000.
Let the people know.
50,000 views.
No fucking way.
Yeah, dude. People just keep watching it. I don't know why. I think it's because like the Spider-Man, it's kind of just riding the Spider-Man wave. It's interesting how stuff like that, it's all about being relevant, man.
Yeah.
It's all about if you can, which I'm so bad at because I don't know what the fuck's relevant. Like,
you're a dad.
I'm a dad, dude.
Yeah, dude, you're an old soul, man.
But that's what we love you
I'll
for.
unclog the drain, dude. Kostas, I'm gonna get on that, man.
You're so right.
You think I had a shower and your guys showered because my drain, the Drano that I poured, you saw me, dude, didn't work.
I watched it.
Worked on ours.
You think there's a Dyson vacuum that needed hung? Who does that? Chase does that.
Well, I was telling Kostas really quick that I think it's probably hair in the drain. And this isn't really relevant to the 505 podcast, but this is a roommate discussion that we need to have. And I'm like, dude, scoop that out. Like, get a fork.
Oh, no, I'm going to put a maintenance request in.
Bro, you got to scoop it out.
He's with me.
They're not going to do it.
I'm working as a team with our apartment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to outsource that work.
Well, and you can outsource this to me, and then you can just like, I don't know, do like something that you're great at. Like think of like a TikTok idea
I'll make you dinner.
He's so good at making dinner, dude.
You're great at making dinner.
God, he's a good cook. Anyways,
give me a few more creatives that you know that have done similar things like that have bossed up that you really enjoyed, made something different.
Jeremiah, who goes by That One Blonde Kid, and another photographer named Jacob. They, a few years ago, started doing retreats where they sold tickets and they put together a whole thing where it was like a destination like in Bali or San Francisco or whatever. And they had creators, I want to say they invited maybe like 10 or 20. And they had basically a mastermind where it was like you would spend a weekend or a week in said location. You got to ask them however many questions you wanted, learned from these creators in like beautiful locations. And that was something that I had never even thought of to do before I saw them do it. And I was like, how fucking cool of like a business model that I hadn't seen before. And you're kind of bossing up and changing it up a little bit.
It's interesting because it's like a course, but in person.
But they get to travel.
And probably really fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, dude. Try to work in the thing that is fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think that hot air balloon guy, he's just probably having a blast.
He loved it, dude. We popped champagne afterwards.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to do. Is like find something that you can like enjoy while you do it. And hopefully, I mean, if you're listening to this, it probably is photo, video, is a similar thing. And fortunately for us, what we like to do is fun and it makes us money.
Yeah.
Our good friend Casey Neistat, by the way, Casey Neistat's not actually our friend, but I call everyone our good friend. So
right. And he one day.
Yeah, he's going to be our good friend. Our good friend Casey Neistat, he did the YouTube thing, whatever, then made an app, right?
Yeah.
We're not even.
Well, the reason he started his daily vlog was to promote Beam, his
Which
app.
is so smart, dude.
Yeah.
Because he had an engineer guy that was like, I'm going to make this app in case he's like, I don't know how to engineer. Similar to what we're talking about, know your strengths. He's like, but I do know how to make videos on YouTube and blow the fuck up. So I'll do that. And then we have marketing built in.
Just built-in marketing, influencer marketing. You have the biggest influencer supporting the app. The
Right.
app crushed, sells to CNN for a huge exit.
Well, the app didn't crush.
Well, no, the app didn't crush.
But Casey crushed. That part did. And CNN wanted to buy him.
There it is, exactly.
Which was great.
And
for
then
him.
he got a big exit.
But then it's interesting because then that ends. He's just like, okay, I'm rich. I can just sit on a yacht forever if I want to with my kid.
Moves to Venice.
Moves to LA. Great choice. But then before that, he started 368.
Yeah.
Because one, he got bored. And two, it's just like another interesting thing where it's like, let's have an in-person like studio, a collective of creators.
But again, that's
I'd
like,
love to do that.
let me think bigger.
Right.
Let me get
exactly.
outside of like, let's get out of the box of like me singularly making videos just myself. Like,
Yep.
how can I think bigger? Okay, well, let's create a fucking space where these
Community.
creators,
Yep.
build a community. These creators can come. We're going to build a bunch of different sets and host dinners or whatever it may be, and just have people come as a collective. And like that to me is like, yo, you're bossing up, you're thinking outside of the fucking box. And that's what that's the point we're trying to get across, is like, hey, think outside of the box of just taking photos or just taking video. Like, what else can you do?
Start a podcast.
Some of my favorite podcasters, speaking of podcasts, Colin and Samir. These two dudes just literally have a pod about talking about creatives.
Yeah.
And it's so entertaining. They have great, very high production value. These guys are creatives themselves. And now, what else are they doing besides?
They're getting into speaking roles.
Exactly. They're getting into the speaking, and their merch is really cool, and they're really getting their audience involved. It's really awesome to see.
They started their Publish Press.
Yes.
Which is basically a newsletter. It's
very
like,
cool.
It's like, okay, these guys started just making YouTube videos. Then they started a podcast. Then they got into merch. Now they're getting into newsletter. They're also doing speaking stuff. I'm sure they're hosting some like dinners and stuff like that, but just like thinking bigger.
The other thing too with that is that you don't see return right away. You have to believe, right? So like if you start a business or whatever and you want to do something bigger, you're probably going to have to like really believe in it and like probably put up some capital and a lot of time. You might be the only one that believes. Because like we podcast every week, and it's not like a quick little thing. We got to set up the whole thing, we edit it, etc. We don't make any money off this.
$0.
We do it. We do it, one, to give y'all value. That's like number one. And number two is like, it feels great when you message us saying you give us value, right? And we hope for it to.
We love the pod.
We're hoping it'll scale up, and we have so many like ideas for it. But you have to believe, and you have to keep fucking going until you can actually like receive things. So you gotta like,
One of my favorite images is there's a guy that's mining for diamonds, you know, and he's one guy on the top, one guy on the bottom. The guy on the top is just about there, right at the diamonds, and he turns around, and the other guy. Or where is he at on the damn thing? I can't remember.
He's less close, but he's happy.
Less close, but he's sending it. He's going into it, you know. And that's a really good. It's a good thing because our boys Colin and Samir, they were about to go back to their jobs, you know, and they kept pushing because they're like, this fucking podcast is it. This is it.
And they got I want to say they got a sponsorship from Samsung. And that allowed them to be financially okay enough to continue doing
that's the
this.
thing.
And now their pod is just crushing it. And it deserves to crush it. It's great, you know? And that's the faith that you have to have in yourself, because some of you might have family that aren't believing in you. You might have friends that are like, this is dumb as fuck. And I had friends like that in college that said this was stupid. I still remember them. We're not really friends anymore. But I remember all those people. Every single person that was like, you sure you're going to do this whole video thing? And I was like, fuck you guys.
Right, because you get better too.
Yeah, and I honestly, I used all of that as motivation, and I would write in that little fucking book all the time. I'd be like, they're wrong. I'm serious. It's so weird. It's like so they're fucking wrong. Bro,
kill list.
But kill list. Jesus Christ. No, but seriously, like I used that. I used all of that negative energy as motivation, and I was like, and I just look at me now.
Yeah,
and you're only gonna get better if
look at me now, motherfucker.
You're only gonna get better if you keep doing something every day. You're just gonna get exponentially better at it. And there's gonna be a time when all of that. What was your thing about Warren Buffett? There's like, because it's going to compound at a point, right?
Of course.
Like you might not be there, and then you do that one extra day when you were thinking about quitting, and then you get all of the things that start to happen, all the things that start to tumble right correctly for you because of all the work that you put in the past 5 years.
Right.
Success is exponential.
Bang.
Right. Oh, of course. Yeah. And once the ball starts rolling, and then it keeps rolling, and like, yeah, you just gotta keep fucking pushing, keep moving on, no matter what.
Another great thing about creating your team and surrounding yourself with people who have the same vision as you, or who want to, accomplish similar stuff as you. Take us three, for example. Moving into this apartment has been great, not only for business, because we've started all of our stuff, but it's just been great talking to you guys and having that like support and motivation. I mean, we talk shop damn near 24/7 in this apartment, and it's just such a great feeling being surrounded with other people who have similar visions. Similar, but not the exact same. I don't want the same thing as Chase. Chase doesn't want the same thing as me or Braden, but we're going in a similar direction. And just like having other people to bounce ideas off of, and having that support when you're feeling down, feeling anxious, whatever it may be, to pick you back up is so great, and I don't take that for granted. And if you're listening to this and you don't have people that support you in your life or whatever, I think like social media is such a great way to like start meeting other people, growing your network, and having a group of people that do support you.
Lob the DMs, man.
Lob the DMs.
That's how I made all of my little creative. Dude, this is how we met on TikTok.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
we lived together.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy, dude. And
Right.
all of my buddies, all of my camera homies were all internet friends for like years. And we would just talk and hype each other up and be like, what do you want to do? We'd FaceTime on there and
Right.
shit. And then like those kids now are, dude, like I think about my buddies from Owen. I'll give a quick shout out to two homies that live like a few blocks away from us, Owen Schatz and Hayden Solly. Guys are badass crazy. We started together in college and we were like all pretty good at what we did.
Sure.
But now these guys are just like,
Right.
it's not even funny how good Owen and Hayden are.
Right.
And I like to think that hopefully they think that I'm getting better a little bit, you know what I mean? But it's so cool.
Damn, Braden really fell off since
Like,
college.
geez, yeah. No, but it's really cool to see how well they're doing and be like, we're coming up at the same time together. And those people
Right.
that you make those connections with, if you're all continuing on the same path, you're going to get better at the same time.
Which also sick. I mean, shout out Hayden. He's basically like the photographer of 505.
Yeah, he's
for so many
insane.
things, which is dope, dude.
Yeah, it's great.
I kind of wanted to talk about where we see ourselves going with our 505 stuff in the next couple of years.
Where do I see 505 going? You know, I'm thinking social media production company that specializes in content that's not wide, because you're going at our strengths.
Right.
And I really do think that specifically on that little app, the little dancing app, it's going to be the whole thing, man. That little app, that app is going to, it already is. It's number one in everything, right? It just took over, was it Google? Literally,
Yeah.
Google. Come
Right.
on.
It's a big one.
Google.
Right. Go.
Does it get
And,
bigger?
and the thing is it's all about like doing what you care about and then finding the niche in like the space in the market where that is helpful.
Find the gray area.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the brands on TikTok don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
And we can make
chance.
like really high quality, like creative stuff that's perfect for brands, right? And it's all about, just like finding where you fit in with your skills.
The production company for sure. The podcast.
Oh, talk to
for
me about
sure.
the pod. Tell me about the pod. I
Here's the
have
thing-
dreams about this
Yeah.
podcast.
Here's the thing with the podcast.
Tell me.
Is we have so much fucking fun doing it.
a
And
blast.
regardless of if it pops or not, I mean, it's already popping, but
Right.
regardless of if we make money from it or not, which is eventually the goal, to turn it into like part of our legitimate jobs where we're
Right.
getting paid for this, getting sponsors,
Right.
and just like building that community. But regardless of if we're making money from it, getting the messages about people like really fucking with it and getting value really gets us excited.
Yeah.
And we really want to, like, the reason why we've been doing this every single week is because we really are dedicated to blowing this the fuck up. And then what comes with having that audience, you guys fucking with us, right?
We're gonna do so much shit.
Like, we have big ideas for doing like meetups and masterminds and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think the one thing, even though we all create different content, what we all really enjoy doing is educating people.
Right.
Like, it is so fun to me because we're so passionate about it. A kid DMs me a question about like, oh, like, what kind of camera should I get for this? Or like, how do I shoot this? Just like teaching
Right.
what we've learned is like so gratifying.
Right.
And being able to do that and like leveraging the podcast to do that is really where I see this going, and something that I would love to do.
I think we're gonna have a show in LA at like at like a bar, and there's
Shoot your
gonna
shot
be,
now. Call your shot.
There's
Babe
gonna
Ruth.
be like 200 or 300 people in this thing, and we're gonna do a fucking live podcast.
So
Yeah.
fun.
Clip this shit when it happens in a few
Clip
years.
it.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
And that's the other thing on the blowing up. Like, if you really enjoy this podcast and you get value from it, like I said, we don't make money on it right now.
Yeah.
We just do it out of the pure, like, just the grace of our hearts. Please tell 2 friends.
Yeah.
It's just as a homework assignment.
Little story on the gram.
Yeah.
The stories help so much. You guys don't even understand. We get
Right.
like a few listeners every time you post a story, because chances are if someone follows you, they like you,
Right.
and you know,
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
Or they
hate you.
Yeah. Which, either way.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll check out the pod.
Right. Out of spite.
Do you want to incorporate your Venmo? Because I know we don't make money off the podcast, but they can have a place to like send you money. If, are you good financially?
No dance.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the 505 podcast. If you're still hanging out with us, please drop a little screenshot on your story, tag the boys so we can talk to you in the DMs. And as always, we'll see you all next week. Peace.
Peace.